morning. It's Ginny and Tim.
Hello.
And I guess our topic today is technology. When technology advances, is it a bad thing or a good thing? I mean, are we headed in a good direction? And these are questions that we've asked ourselves over and over again throughout history. So we're gonna dive into some of that and look at some of the questions that we asked back when new technology came about. And sometimes you'll be surprised. Some of the questions are the same as we're asking right now. And some of the worries are the same. It's amazing. Anyway, drop your questions, drop your comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about technology and how it's advancing and how you feel about it. Sign up for our newsletter at dstech.net. And at the end, I'll tell you how to get your free security assessment. The
biggest.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, so the big thing I guess we're talking about is, the AI advancements, and we're seeing all in the news right now. There's all these different companies who are having all these layoffs, and they're basically using AI. My opinion is like the scapegoat of like they're losing all these jobs just purely due to AI, and I feel there's a myriad of other variables in this as well. It could just be the overall economy itself is in general. There's a shift of stuff, and I think companies are using AI as a scapegoat to have these layoffs and potentially do various things as well, and it's kind of getting a negative bad rap overall. And so with any new technology, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And when you ever get any of that kind of stuff, people then to usually revolt against the new technology, almost like when the internet even first came out, people were, all up in arms about that and some of that stuff too. So we'll go through some different examples of technological advancements, how they potentially disrupted things. And with anything, there's usually good and there is some bad. It's usually not so black and white where it's just a good thing or just a bad thing. It could be like a little bit of a mix depending how it's being used.
I remembered a story on the job front, in past jobs. I know that bosses have used excuses to
just the layest technology just to cut corners or to make more money or whatever it is.
Or to just cut bloat.
Yeah, cut bloat out too. Yeah, exactly. It's like
because you always know the employee that's really not doing anything, right?
Yep.
And if you're a boss, you're like, well, why am I paying this person, right?
And without getting too far into the weeds here, that's where I personally see AI helping, is it's going to allow good employees perform better.
Yep.
And it's going to allow one employee to potentially do the job of 2 or 3 or even 5 on a team, depending on the use case of what they're doing. So it is going to cause a little bit of disruption, but then there'll be other jobs that will come out to take care of that as well.
Anyway,
it's not the first terrifying technology shift. Every major technological leap in history typically causes fear, predictions of mass job losses, claims that it was going to be dangerous, accusations that it would destroy society and the economy, but every time typically the outcome was the same. Humanity eventually adapted, the economy did evolve, and life usually improved dramatically overall for the average person. So the first one we're going to talk about is electricity. So when electricity first appeared, newspapers warned it would burn down cities, destroy the night, it would kill workers. People genuinely feared electric lights would explode. Despite this, electricity became one of the most transformative forces in human history. I look at even Christmas lights. When people first had Christmas trees and electricity, they're like, you're going to put lights on a tree in your house? Like, you're just asking to burn your house down. And there probably was when the technology was early on. Maybe there were issues and and things like that. But overall, look where we're at today. Everyone uses it. And again, that fear, the uncertainty, and the doubt of what it was then is behind us, and it has improved the lives significantly from before electricity.
Now we have twinkly lights and it's so dark out.
Yes. Same thing with automobiles now. So early cars were actually banned in some towns because people believed that they would cause madness in horses and frighten children. Critics said automobiles would endanger travel and wipe out jobs for blacksmiths and carriage workers. What are they going to do with all these automobiles? We're going to lose all these jobs. Instead, cars created entirely new industries: mechanics, roads, logistics, aviation, global travel. And look at where we are today. Again, we have all the different vehicles, and it's helped typically overall improve versus the negatives. Same thing with the tractor. So farmers originally resisted tractors because they feared it would put all the farmhands out of work. It's like, well, if I've had this tractor, I don't need to hire all these people to pick our crops now. What are we going to do? Like, this doesn't make sense. Well, it absolutely disrupted those jobs, but it then also increased the agricultural output exponentially. It lowered the food costs and allowed fewer people to feed entire nations, and opened opportunities for millions of workers to move to new industries and not have to do manual labor and maybe do better, jobs than using their creative energy to do potentially better things. The microchip in the computer revolution was similar. When the early computers arrived, people said they would eliminate all office jobs. You're going to have a computer do all the stuff my workers do. What are you going to do? Same thing. Instead, computers created the modern economy with all of IT, MSPs, software engineering, healthcare tech, cloud services, everything that we rely on today. So again, the pattern, as I'm saying these examples, is very similar, that with every major shift, there's fear, there's displacement, and there's confusion, but typically it also creates far more long-term jobs, safety, and advancement. And it kind of fits into this pattern that we've been seeing with that. So there is a typical a transitional phase, so to say, where you have the new technology is kind of groundbreaking, and there's a lot of old technology processes. So you're kind of taking the new with the old. There's a term for this. It's called skeuomorphism, where you're taking new technology with old things. Oh, sorry. And so the idea with that is, here's some examples, is that early cars actually use horse reins instead of steering wheels, because people didn't know what a steering wheel was. They were used to controlling with a horse rein. So they actually had horse reins to pull the front of the vehicle. Yeah. Early automobiles also included fake buggy whips, because people didn't know yet what controls were needed. So they just put stuff to make it feel familiar on that. Some of the first electric lights were actually shaped like candles, because people were used to seeing candles for their lights. And early computers, you see this today, all your file folder icons are because people are familiar with folders and files and filing things away. So that's where that started from. So again, why this matters for AI is right now we're in the exact same stage with AI. We're using AI assistants, GPTs, whatever, but we're using the old workflows. So AI is being bolted onto these old systems, just try to create efficiency, and rather than being used in a completely autonomous way. So we have AI, they're reviewing tickets, they're summarizing logs for us, they're generating configs, they're used in endpoint detection software, but still they're inside legacy processes designed for human labor. We haven't really seen the true form of AI workflows yet, where it literally can just kind of do whatever it wants. And we're still going to be guardrails, obviously, with AI, because we want to make sure it's not doing anything malicious or bad. However, in the future, when AI becomes fully native instead of bolted on, it could be, right now it's powerful, fast, and transformative, but it's still constrained to legacy systems, again, human processes. I feel that you should always have human in the loop, even when AI gets to the point where it's fully autonomous, doing all this kind of stuff. You have these autonomous agents. I feel that it's still going to be important to have humans, almost like human quality control throughout the various steps to review and make sure that it's doing its job. I think of like a giant assembly line of parts. Even once we got rid of all the people putting on all the parts on the assembly line as it's going, we still needed people along gaps of the assembly line to check that the automation's working along the way. That's going to be kind of similar with this. So the next phase
reminds me of a book I read about Elon Musk and the way he does things.
Okay.
And originally he wanted to automate everything, but he found out that there were certain things that humans did better.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be that
he's like,
spot for sure.
So he kind of flipped his point of view in the book he did.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's real, but it's interesting.
Similar to this, the idea is, we can try to automate as much as we want, but it's still going to have that human touch to just look at it, see what it is, add that creative input, or maybe make it even more efficient, because the idea with the system is it's never going to self-improve itself. It's going to take humans to have that creative energy to look at the inefficiency.
And I feel like computers can't compete with what's in here. This is
we try to mimic
it.
It's
Right?
We've created them based off what we know, but ultimately I totally agree with that. So what we're saying here is that the real AI revolution, one that is going to be comparable to electricity for the invention of the engine, is going to be, it's typically going to be a generation ahead. It's hard to even imagine right now. We can kind of have some ideas, or the thinkers right in the industry are thinking of these different ways, but it's really not practical yet, and they're just theorizing how it could be used. And it's likely going to be far more transformative than anything happening in the current AI assistant phase. So everyone's worried about these helpers upskilling you and things like that. Unfortunately, I do see that in the future when AI becomes even more autonomous, it's going to replace some of those, jobs, and then you're going to have other jobs be open to then either control, be that human quality assurance, or again, typically use your more creative abilities as a human to try to come up with new novel ways or improve the system to be better. So again, trying to look at AI as this giant, frightening, scary black box, but it's another kind of transformative time in our lifetimes where we're having new technology. So imagine being born when the tractor was invented, being born when, the cars were first just starting to come under being invented, or right when electricity was being invented, how crazy of a time that must have felt. And the reason it feels like that now is because we're going through a similar leap in technology and a shift that it's hard to see all the ramifications of it right now. So there's just that uncertainty. So with that, just understand that every time this happened in the past, there's usually a small phase of disruption where people are not understanding everything or they're losing their jobs. There could be little things here, but ultimately humanity will adapt. Humans are very adaptable, and overall it will typically improve the lives of everyone else once we do get the system working how we want.
Exactly. I love it.
I just
So-
look at industries like healthcare and various things
Yeah.
too, where they could potentially diagnose a patient real quickly, give them the medicines they want way more accurately, and do certain things that could potentially improve the lives of people more than the disruption of a few office jobs.
Yeah, and now that you say that, I'm like, that would be awesome, because right now if you want to see, I don't know, the skin people.
Yeah.
You have to wait like 3 months to get in to see one. I mean,
Yep.
here you do. And I'm like, wouldn't that be nice if you could just, put your symptoms in,
Yeah,
and
like
have
the initial referral phase. Like now you usually
Yeah.
go to your general, right? They make sure that you got the issues and they kind of do the initial vetting to verify before they send you to the experts, because the
Right.
experts are, they have so much
They're
amount of time.
experts are the experts.
And so imagine a thing where you have a phone app where there could be certain practices that agree to use it or not, right? They're like, oh, we'll accept your diagnosis from the system. And you could have an AI app where you put in all the symptoms, you put your biometrics, maybe you got a smartwatch or device that's plugging in your stuff, whatever it is, to get all that information there. And then it can truly vet that and be like, yep, you do have exactly what you think it is. We'll send all this information to your specialist who can then review it.
Yeah.
And you may get out of not having to have a referral even.
Even
I
to
don't know.
see our general doctor,
Yeah.
our family doctor, you have to make the appointment a month ahead of time.
Yep.
My hairdresser, but of course,
Yeah.
AI isn't going to cut my hair, but
Yeah. Well, not yet anyway. AI with the robot arm, you never
Right?
know. It could get there.
I feel like that would not be pretty.
First ones usually aren't.
Anyway,
But yeah, so that just
fascinating. We could talk about this forever.
yeah, and there's all these other examples. I just picked kind of some of the bigger ones, and then again, just don't look at it with all this fear. Everyone's always, trying to just scare you and all this kind of stuff online. That's what I see with the AI stuff. I see, and then you can look at the positives as well. So it's kind of where you focus your attention. And unfortunately, in the news and in the typical where people are hearing about it, it tends to be more negative, just because it's what gets clicks. It
Yep. The
gets
news
people's
will
attention
always
and
play on your
So,
fear, because fear gets more. Yes.
Yeah. So
fear
don't play
gets
into
more.
that. Look at the possible advancements, how it can help people, and those advantages, and then you can make your own decisions from that.
Yeah.
So,
So don't be afraid. You'll be all right.
yep.
We're going to advance and be better than ever. So drop your comments, drop your questions, drop your thoughts on this topic, and go to dstech.net and find our free security assessment so we can check out your business network and all that kind of stuff and see how you're doing keeping your data safe and your customers safe. So see you next time.